Welcome guys, I'm Carl O'Rourke from Wani, and joining us today is the one and only Johannes of the Swedish Legends Avatar. Thank you for taking the time with us today, man.
The King and I thank you for your time. Glory to our King.
So, Avatar Country, your 7th studio album. First of all, it's a fantastic record, man, so I just wanted to take a moment to recognize that. I mean, you guys just seem to go from strength to strength with each of your albums respectively, so my sincere congratulations there, my friend.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
So how has the response been treating you so far to the record?
Very positive. With this being a very different thing coming from us, because of the nature of what we are singing about, as we came up having done Feathers and Flesh, which which is a piece of fiction and a piece of very, very dark fiction at that. Once we reached a point now where we felt it was time to speak the truth about the nature of our King, open up the borders to Avatar Country and all that, that led to a much more, how should I put it, like positively charged album. There's more brightness in this one because of the theme of it. I think this is the happiest you will ever hear Avatar. And in that sense, but people were completely ready for it, which is what we also estimated it would be. We felt the world would be ready at this time, and they were, and we've been fully embraced.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind me saying so, in comparison to Feathers and Flesh, Avatar Country feels to me like, I know you said positive, but it actually feels like a celebratory occasion as well. Would this be a fair assessment?
Yes, that's an even better word for it, yes.
Oh, lovely, because this is your 2nd concept album, and we'll get into the specifics of that shortly. But it seems like concept albums are quite a comfortable endeavor for Avatar as a band. So, what made you decide to return to making another concept album specifically?
Well, if we look back and look why we even got interested in making a concept album to begin with, was this simple fact that we didn't know how to make one. And we are always looking for a new way to assure that it will be hard for us to make an album. It's based on the principle that diamonds are created under pressure, and we feel like that we always have to, once we get comfortable with a method, comfortable with an idea, and start to understand how you write one certain thing, we want to try to step away from that and dig into something we're not as comfortable in. Just to kind of capture that first time energy, the energy you have when you do something for the first time.
Yeah,
that being said, that was for Feathers and Flesh, and therefore the intention to make another concept album was never ever there. But this concept was too much in us, and we were too inspired not to do it. Because I guess that's the number one rule of writing anything. You have to follow your muse. That's artistically the only really honest thing you can do. Is if you are compelled to make something, that is what you should make. So we kind of went against our own plans. But again, because we felt the world was ready, because it was time to tell the story of the King, we couldn't help ourselves.
No, and speaking of that energy as well, your music goes hand in hand with your stage show. But before we get into the music specifically, I want to talk a little bit about the themes that inform it, because personally, I'm having a blast with them. I mean, you've got the axe-wielding king that obviously lives within every song, and establishing, of course, and welcoming everybody to Avatar Country. And I read the fable on the website that it was where to begin. Can you tell us a little bit about your approach to those components on the record? What was the thinking behind them, with the King and the Avatar Country?
Well, it's a simple. I don't know if I already, in a way, put it there. It was just about following the muse, and the muse said that it's time to let the world know about our glorious King. And of course, as you know, and people have noticed by now, is that all song titles and therefore all the song themes, individual themes of the songs, are about our King. We just felt there are so many different aspects of him to study, to dwell into, and to praise in all of its glory, that they are these you know, as the song title suggests, Legend of the King, which puts a more mythological twist on how we take a look at him alongside a song like King After King has a similar feel, while some are more down to earth and a more specific understanding of the king and his role in his kingdom avatar country, such as The King Was You or The King's Harvest. So it's just there's so many. Again, we just talked about diamonds, and I guess the most brightly shining diamond in the universe would be our king, and you can shine light for a diamond in so many different angles and get so many different results. So that is really what it was all about.
Cool, man, cool. And musically, I mean, you guys got quite playful, which I really loved. I mean, some of my favorite tracks are, you know, the bluesy, almost slide riffing guitar, and The King welcomes you to Avatar country, and then A King Harvest. It's such a powerful force. Would I be correct in assuming that you guys had some fun with different styles in the studio recording this record?
Yeah, but I feel we always do. It's another musical principle for us is never to write the same song twice. And it comes to, whenever people ask about influences, I feel that is always too wide of a question to answer. However, my personal foundations will always be, and just in principle, in terms of principles, not necessarily what sound or what kind of song I'm trying to achieve, but will always be the Beatles and Black Sabbath.
Sure.
And Black Sabbath for kind of obvious reasons, I guess, since we're a metal band, but it's so obvious that it's still important to acknowledge. I feel like if you're doing metal, the riff is king, and if you want to make the best riff possible, it's about creating the best groove for that riff possible.
Absolutely.
And you know, that's the point of making metal sound metal. Be it that if it's you know, death or power metal or something more retro groovy sounding or whatever, it's all about, you know, making that connection between the most amazing riff you can think of and the arrangements around it, and that's Black Sabbath. The other part, the Beatles, that's a band I grew up with. You know, my dad introduced them to me when I was very young, and they always sound like the Beatles. They always no matter, you know, if you compare from their first album, Please Please Me, to, you know, to the last stuff they recorded, being you know, the Abbey Road stuff, thanks to the fact that it is performed by those four musicians, it always ends up sounding like the Beatles, no matter what endeavors they are going through. You know, so, and I put the trust in our songwriting that it will end up sounding like Avatar, as long as we keep our love for metal music alive, and we are the ones performing. Then it will be music made with our voices, not just my voice as a singer, but a drummer also has a voice, and you know, guitar players and bass players, obviously. You know, so we're approaching the music trusting that we can do whatever we want as long as we are passionate about it, and it will sound like Avatar. It will be like Avatar because we can still always sound like ourselves, at least when we try to sound good.
Wonderful, Matt. That's great insight there. And you touched on something there that I've been really looking forward to chatting with you about, which is, you know, when you look at the current state of rock and metal, you know, there are a few recurring questions surrounding it, and one of them is, you know, is metal too narrow-minded, or does it take itself too seriously? And you guys obviously have a lot of fun with your shows, and, you know, being quite a spectacle on the stage. And I read that you said there's a big difference between, you know, being fun or funny and being a joke. Where in your mind do you draw the line between them?
That's a good question, actually, and I don't know if I have a clear cut, you know, if there's a clear line drawn in sand, but I feel, I guess the most important thing that I believe makes what we do work for us is, again, that it comes from the heart. It's very honest, and when we want to be deadly serious, it's because that is what we feel like doing, and compelled to do so. And so I think the sincerity of it is the most important thing. I feel like a band being a joke, you're usually the ones. What sounds like a joke to me are those who at least what I perceive to be songs written in order to find success, and that it usually ends up being kind of transparent. Or those again who think they figure out the formula for what to do based on maybe what some other band in the past has done, and keep to strictly to that. And I find it very hard to take bands seriously who seems to be writing only from the perspective of success. But I don't know, like it's a complex question.
Sure.
It all falls back to, again, that when it feels insincere, it's very hard to give in and go for a ride with those particular musicians that I don't feel are sincere. And then and suddenly all those big words that people use and all those strong emotions they think they are portraying means nothing, and then it becomes pretty silly.
Right.
I guess it's there somewhere where it's a difference between being funny and a joke, or be fun, maybe I should say.
Yeah, no, I get you. And another thing I was really looking forward to getting your insight on is, you know, you said, and I loved it, was that every generation rebels against the one that happened before it. And that's interesting to me because I've spoken to quite a few artists about, you know, how they see both the current state and the future of metal or rock or music generally. And the difference in opinions truly fascinates me. I mean, some are concerned, others are confident, and, you know, among so many other viewpoints. But most agree that this generation and the upcoming ones are going to face a very unique set of challenges. You know, if you would care to share it, I would love to get your take and your insight as to what you feel the current state of rock and metal is in. And are you concerned or confident for the next generation of musicians within the genre?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not worried at all, and I think it's always it's the current generation's job to worry about the next generation, be it about music or attitudes or how they dress or whatever. That is something that has gone in cycles long before there even was metal music, you know. So I'm really not worried at all, and especially not in the last few days when I've been. I just happened to hear about and check out some Indian metal bands and some and the metal scene in Botswana, and my brother a couple of weeks ago showed me this. Now the name escapes me, but this New Zealand band, 3 young guys who are using. Oh, actually, all 3 examples of bands now are using influences from folklore or the sounds and the and rituals or whatever from their particular home countries. In the same way that we have grown very used to see Scandinavian metal bands do, meaning that the diversifying and the spread and the chance for bands to be heard from way more parts of the world than before. I feel like it's a more exciting time than ever for that reason, artistically. Then if anyone will have commercial success, again, if we talk purely about music as art and not necessarily talk about the entertainment, the rock and roll success of it, I think metal is always doing well. It is always attracting people who want to find a new way to be more extreme or again integrate new things into the music. It's happening constantly, and I'm not worried at all. Then if one of us is going to be the next actual big thing, meaning that a couple of metal bands again will be in vogue, like I don't know, like metal was in the 80s, or a certain type of metal was that got to represent the rest of it in the mainstream. That you can never know. But I also believe that's the wrong thing to worry about if you make music and if you love the music you're listening to. That just time will tell if it will be trendy again. But in the United States, and wherever we go, metalheads are metalheads, and there are always some. Sometimes there are enough to fill a hall with thousands of people, but there are always at least hundreds of them. And it's well, I'm sorry to get into a very cliche-ridden way of expressing myself, but it's so true. It's a very unifying force across borders, meaning wherever you go, you have people with Avatar country and metal nations in their hearts. So I feel absolutely no worry at all about metal as a subculture. It's in the nature of the genre for people to push themselves artistically, and at some point and somewhere in the world, yet another genius boy or girl with a new take on it will pick up a guitar and figure something out for the rest of us.
So yeah, no. Finally, just I won't keep you too much longer. You were just touching on it there. You guys are currently on the road right now, and I'm in Dublin, Ireland at the moment, where you're going to be next month, and there's everybody. We just can't wait to see you guys. So how's the tour been treating you so far? And can you tell us a little bit what we can expect from your show this time around?
You can expect royalty.
Royalty.
As the king enters any venue in the world, that just like as we are in the United States, it's a good comparison. Like how if the president of the United States, whoever that is, goes on an airplane, that strategically, in the eyes of the Secret Service and the Army and everyone, that plane effectively becomes the so-called Air Force One. We have a similar thing with our king of Avatar country. Whatever venue he enters for that day, that is the royal castle. And we treat the venue as his throne room. And what we aim to achieve, and already have proven to achieve across all of Europe and North America this year, or half of Europe, to be honest, we still have a lot of east to do, is that we turn the venue into his throne room, and we transport people into Avatar country with the performance, with the production, with how the merch area looks, and all these things together makes it of quite, I would say, unique and intense and special experience. And it's been treating us very well. It's been to date, since we hit the road in January, we have had broken our own records over and over again in terms of attendance and venue size and just the success of it all.
Wow.
So we seem to be doing something right at the moment.
Congratulations, man. That sounds amazing. And listen, thank you for so much for taking the time to talk with us today, and I'm looking forward to linking up with you guys in Dublin next month, and have a really great time, okay?
Thank you very much. Pleasure was all mine, and yeah, I look forward to as we didn't get to go to Dublin on the first initial European run. I'm very happy that it happens now, because it's been a great time ever since. Actually, in Dublin, we had a show in a club. The name escapes me, but I've never been so scared of collapsing, dying, a lack of oxygen in the venue while we perform. And that is more than anything a testament of the intensity of the audience there. So let's do that again.
That sounds fantastic, mate. All right, looking forward to it. Have a great day, Johannes.
You too. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Glory to our King.